This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to your live safari of today. We are just watching the wildebeest wake up, and I hope all of you are fully awake and you have coffee in your hand because it's a gloomy morning here, but we are going to find lots of animals. My name is Lauren, and the thumb you are about to see belongs to Davy. He is my cameraman, and he happens to be quite a good cameraman. This is obviously Dinsho, my good luck charm, who just needs to be here, and we're just watching the wildebeest. Ah, there he is. There's your moment of fame, Dinsho. Yes, my African wild dog, or Madash, as they call them out here. So we're just watching the wildebeest be a little bit frisky, I'm not quite sure what they're up to, and start their morning. But of course, we have many of you joining us from all around the world, so a big welcome to all of you. Jump on board, put on your seatbelts, although our vehicles don't actually have seatbelts. But we do have lots of families joining from USA, UK, Canada and Singapore. So it's great to have you here. We are, of course, live and interactive. So that email address, kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, is going to pop up on the screen. Take note and send in all of your wonderful questions. You can send in some comments too. It's up to you. Now, it is a gloomy morning. I'm sure Davy can do a wonderful job of showing you the skies. It rained last night. I'm not actually sure how much rain we received, but it definitely rained. The sort of smell of the wet earth is in my nostrils, which I happen to like, and I'm not sure what the weather is holding for today, but it is 17 degrees Celsius and 63 degrees Fahrenheit. So hopefully we do not get rained on because, well, we don't have a roof here on this wonderful car, also known as a Mahindra. It's my favourite. I love it. So if it rains, Davy and I will be in a little bit of trouble, but I believe sawing was heard, and it's thought it was maybe Tingana. Ree, you're 7 from Singapore? I think I got that name right. And you're asking, isn't it dangerous for us to have an open vehicle? No, Ree, it's not. I think all of the safari vehicles out here are open, no roof. The roof only protects you from rain. So out here, being in the vehicle full stop is actually, it offers you protection. Most of the animals, from your wildebeest to your lions to your leopards, elephants, buffalo, they're very accustomed and habituated to the vehicle. They're used to it. They've seen it since they were calves or pups or cubs, and they know it's not a threat. This vehicle is not a threat to those animals. It doesn't them, it doesn't hurt them, and it doesn't and shouldn't interfere with their life. So they're used to the sight of vehicles, they're used to the sound, they're used to the smell of all those wonderful fumes and fuels, and therefore they're really not bothered. You really struggle to find an animal that will approach you in a vehicle unless you're acting threatening towards it. And of course, if I was driving right up to an animal and scaring them, then you might find that they will react. But as long as we are behaving and we're driving very sensibly and cautiously, then the animals will not really react to us in the vehicle. Okay, I am on my leopard search once again. And as I bumble looking for my spots, we're going to send you guys all the way across to andBeyond in Ngala, as Sean wants to say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to andBeyond in Ngala on this relatively cloudy, but not too cold of a morning. You with myself, Sean. We got myself behind the camera there. We spent the last couple of minutes just sitting here at the beautiful Waterhole. Just listening. We're waiting, we're looking, we're listening. We're seeing what this Wednesday has in store for us. Here, Lauren is looking for some leopards. Now, yesterday, well, last night at least, we had a bit of rain. Had a little bit of rain this morning. So we were a bit nervous heading out, but it cleared up nicely, which is good. But the rain is good. The rain means that there should be some activity coming from the predators. You know, the lions, the leopards, hopefully even the wild dogs. Especially for the leopards now. They have to go and re-scent mark. The rain washed a lot of their scent marks away. So I'm hoping, now still fairly cold, that we're going to find some. We were sitting here listening for the lions. Now the Birmingham Pride haven't been seen in a few days. they crossed out into another reserve in the northeast. So we were hoping that they might come through. Nikki had the males last night, and we heard them calling. So it would be awesome if they have joined up with the rest of the pride. I think that's what we're going to do this morning. We're headed out into the east now. This is Clara Dam, where we're sitting at the moment. And then we're going to head a bit more central and see if we can find, any sign of predators, really. See who's out, who's awake, trying to get warm. See, as I said, what this Wednesday has in store for us. Feels like it's been a long time since I've been with all of you viewers. I had quite a few tracking days. So I'm actually quite excited to be back. And it's also going to be my first drive working with Kurongwe, which is quite exciting. I've heard good things about it. And yeah, they've done pretty well so far. So what we're going to do is send you over there to Taylor to say good morning.
Good morning. Hello, Sean. I'm Taylor. That's a hole in the ground, and on camera with me today is Alex. I should probably push my hat up a little bit. Now we're going to stare deeply into this burrow. So we are on Kurongwe Game Reserve. We are quite close to the fence line because we are down in the south again looking for cheetah, and I know that's what you all wanted to see. But for the last few days that I've been discovering the southern section of this reserve, I've come across this rather large burrow. Now, that's the entrance, and you can see that the sand is it's quite neat. It's been used quite regularly in comparison to the rest of the vegetation around it. And there are some small footprints. I'm very nervous to walk on over there and stick my head into the burrow, and it's definitely something that you should not do, because if there is a big warthog that comes charging out, you might find yourself in a spot of trouble. So we won't be doing that, or an aardvark or a pine or anything really could be living in here. But the fact that it's been kept so tidy, and just the general area, we've been seeing a lot of warthogs around. I wonder if this termite mound is now the home of a pig. I was hoping that if we sit here for long enough it might come out, because we got here quite early. It's only just starting to break light, sort of light now. Let me just turn this off. You can see very overcast. We had about 2 mils of rain last night. And maybe the clouds are going to burn away, but they could also drop a bit. They're not quite super high just yet. But we're going to be driving around in this area at some point and see if we can find that female cheetah. We haven't gone to check if she's in the last spot just yet. I just wanted to see if she came around here. Now, I think my favorite questions have to come from all the kids. I really enjoy chatting to all of you. And Nana, who's 4 years old all the way from Singapore, has asked if there are any bears on safari. No bears here, but if you go on safari, I suppose in Canada or somewhere in the Americas, you're definitely going to see some bears. And then if you're going to Asia, you might see a sloth bear, which is not really a bear, but they kind of look like a bear with really, really big claws. But unfortunately, in Africa, we don't have any bears. I'm trying to think. There's not even anything that really looks like a bear out here. What would be the closest thing to a bear? What do you think, Alex? Nothing. Nothing really out here. But honey badger, but they're scary creatures. What we're going to try and show you today, Nana, is cheetah. Oh, yes. There we go. One thing that maybe, if you use your imagination, that could look like a bear is a little hyena cub. Because when they're born, they're completely black in color. They don't have any spots on them. They're quite strange looking. But other than that, we won't be seeing any bears out here. So cheetah is hopefully going to be on the menu for today. And there was a big herd of buffalo that seemed to have moved south. We saw some tracks that was late yesterday afternoon before the rain caught us and we had to head home. So that is something that we're also going to be looking for. Maybe they'll be a little bit further north up here. But without further ado, off we go back to the Sabi Sands to meet the one and only James Hendry.
Good morning, as the teeming herds of the wildebeest migration move to the south into the clouds and mist of the start of the day. My name is James Hendry. On camera today is Owen. It's lovely to have you with us. That's really a wildebeest migration at all. It's just a couple of wildebeest going for a graze. That's what they do out here, heading into the woodland. And for those of you who do know about the wildebeest migration up in East Africa, that is very distinct from anything that goes on here. About 1,500 miles away from that area. And these wildenbeesten are a slightly different subspecies from the ones that you get up in East Africa. It's a pretty morning today, although, as Lauren said, we don't know what the weather's going to do. Some lovely rain last night, which have naturally obliterated all the tracks, but with any luck they'll bring out the predators to do their territorial marking as dawn has broken. But everything feels fresh and nice. The grass smells Ooh. Sophie, the rarest tree that we get here at Djuma, I don't know about rarest overall. In other words, I don't know if the tree I'm going to mention now is actually a rare tree. I don't think it is. But there is one example of a tree called a sausage tree here at Djuma, and it's the only one that we know of. So that's just at Djuma. The tree itself overall is not particularly rare. You can find it in lots and lots of different places. But at Djuma there's only one. So that's one of them. I suspect maybe then it could be a tree known as I actually don't know what the English name is. Pterocarpus angolensis is its Latin name. It's a teak tree. Used to be called the Transvaal teak, but there's no such thing as the Transvaal anymore. So Pterocarpus angolensis, another interesting tree. That's not what you're looking at now. You're looking at a bush willow. So I only know of one or two examples of Pterocarpus angolensis, and they're not particularly common anywhere else. So maybe it's those two trees. Thank you very much for the tree question. I always enjoy those. We'll probably head off towards the east today. The hyenas had a very substantial party on this road last night again, and they are heading towards the clearings outside our camp, but I think this was just post the rain, so probably around about 10 o'clock yesterday evening. I don't think it was now. Good, we shall carry on. We shall try and find animals, and while we do that we will go across to Shaun, who is looking for animals at Ngala.
So my son and I decided to adapt our morning search slightly. So earlier I said that the Birmingham Pride they crossed out of our northeastern boundary. So one of our tracking teams, Rowan and Andre, is going to head out in that direction to have a look, see if they obviously have any tracks of this Pride coming back into andBeyond Ngala. I'm not going to go there because I don't want to drive over any tracks that I'm not able to see. So instead what we're going to do is head towards those two male lions that Nikki had yesterday. See if we can find them. See if maybe they were calling last night. As I said, we heard that. Maybe they joined up with the Pride, or I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see how far they've traveled, if they have found anything, joined up with anybody. So what we're going to do is look for them. And I'm also secretly hoping that because it's cold, because it's wet, we might hear them calling again, which will be quite beautiful, seeing them call in the early morning, hoping for a bit of mist coming out of the mouth. And our first question of the morning, for me at least, is from India with 9-year-old Mer. Now Mer, yes, lions can have more than one dominant male lion. Like the two that we are going to go look for now, they're two brothers called the Ross males, and they are both in control of the Birmingham Pride. So one example here, Mer, we have two. Before these ones we had, I think, coalition of maybe 4 or 5 males, and sometimes you go up to 9, 6, 7, 8, 9 males that control a pride. So yes, it can be more than one. Generally, it is more than one, because it's much easier for them to take over and control an area the more males that there are. You know, if you're one male but you got to fight against 3, you know, you're going to lose. But if you can have you and 3, 4, 5 brothers, that's ideal. Your territory can be much bigger, your control can be longer lasting. So yes, can be more than one, but they will also fight amongst each other. All the males, nothing too serious, but they will fight each other just for dominance, especially when it does come to mating. They will fight, which, as I said, it's nothing serious. They don't kill each other. They are related, so they don't kill each other, but they, you know, do like to know who's in charge, who gets to mate first, that sort of thing. So it does happen. But what we're going to do while we carry on the search is see if we can find any signs of these males. In the meantime, send you back across to Djuma, see how Lauren's leopard search is going.
I have no updates on my search, I'm afraid. It is an extremely chilly morning here. Lots of fresh hyena tracks, I'm sure you can see just in front of the vehicle. And I know that they're very, very fresh because the ground is wet, which does make it slightly more difficult to track unless the animal has just walked here. And then you will see the upturned wet sand. But if the animal had walked last night during the rain or before the rain, then it makes it really, really difficult for us to see anything. So this is a junction I happen to always be live at, and I need to stop and have a look, I'm afraid. Otherwise, I will not be able to see where anything has moved. It's always good to turn the engine off as well, especially this car. It's a very noisy car. Okay, Dobby, you're in charge of this side. Let me just scan. This is a really important junction that I always come to because you can see in every way, north, south, east, west, any potential movements of last night. I don't see anything. Davy, do you see anything on this road? Nothing. Oh, Caleb, you're 10 years old in Australia. The hardest animals to find are the ones we don't see, because we don't find them. I'm only joking, Caleb. The hardest animal to track, let me answer that. The hardest animal to track, mammals at least, would probably be a hyena. Their tracks are everywhere. They walk all through the night in every single direction following their nose. So although you see a hyena track, even if you were to follow them, very rarely would it result in you actually finding that individual. But in terms of hardest animal to find, probably your nocturnal animals, which would be your aardvarks, porcupines, pangolins. Never seen any of those before. Well, I have seen one porcupine, I tell a lie. And they come out at night. But they don't just come out once the sun sets and roam around. They actually come out at specific windows during the night. And it's normally something really unusual, like 1 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the morning. So they're also very, very skittish and elusive, and they make it very difficult to be seen or be found. So I think, Caleb, in answer to your question, lots of hyena movements here. Many different hyenas, tracks of all different sizes. Wonder where they were heading. Okay, I'm going to see what I can find down this road. Hopefully, I'll be lucky. And as I bumble in my very noisy vehicle, I'm going to send you across to James.
We are heading towards some noisy birds that are going wah, 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 wah. They may just be shouting at each other, or they may be shouting at a predator of some description. So that's where we're going. Keep forgetting we're in Kids Drive, aren't we? So kids, don't forget to send your questions to kidsquestions@wildearth.tv. Any questions on Africa, conservation, nature, animals, biology in general? Do your best to stump us. Olwetu, I cannot show you Mapani worms. That is a very good question. For those of you who don't know, a Mapani worm is a caterpillar of the emperor moth that is consumed by various people in northern South Africa, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana. There's a white-faced whistling duck whistling away. And the reason, Olwetu, I cannot show it to you here is that A, it's the wrong season, and B, we don't get Mapani trees here. But the southernmost tip of the Mapani distribution is at Ngala. And so, if you ask Sean very nicely, I don't think he'll find you a worm at this time of the year, but he may well be able to find you a Mapani tree that he can show you the worms grow on. Let's just listen quickly. There's no more shouting from the birds, which is interesting. So if they were having a territorial dispute, chances are they'd still be calling. Now, I've eaten Mapani worms many times, and I find them to be the sort of taste of sawdust. And basically, they taste like whatever you cook them in. They're a little bit like snails or oysters or what else? Calamari. You know, kind of really mild flavour, but taste like whatever you cook them in. And so I think that's the case with Mapani worms. You do have to chew them quite a lot, depending on how they're prepared, as Owen says. But they are not what I would describe as delicious, nor would I describe them as a delicacy. But they are a very important source of protein for people. Josh, the animal that we see most often is probably the impala. Unless you are including all the insects and that sort of thing, in which case it's probably the fly or the mosquito. But it's probably the impala. There she is. A leopard has coming through here in the very recent past. But as always, I am behind the 8-ball. I wonder if that's what was making those birds shout. We'll keep looking around here. You go across to Sean and see if he can find you a Mapani worm, or a leaf at least.
So, oh, sorry, I was about to tell you something else, but there's a fish eagle. Now, I don't normally stop for birds, but this is a pretty bird, so I was going to have a quick pan across over there to the fish eagle on our left hand side. So I was actually sitting over a little waterhole where Marcel has done a few fun facts for us. You could just see that very distinctive sort of white on the black, very similar to the mega bald eagle in terms of colouring. I think he's slightly smaller than the bald eagle though. I think bald eagles are more brown. But beautiful bird, you can see looking quite big there. As I said, sitting over a little water hole, maybe looking down around there, looking across the river. I've seen them here a few times, not too often. But they mainly stay up in our northwest around Alfred Dam, which you have been to before, one with the crocodiles. But normally up there. But they have been seen coming down around here, especially this puddle when they start to dry up any sort of fish that came down the river that were in the puddle. You know, as the puddle dries up, these fish start to obviously struggle, lack of water, and now these eagles just swoop down, pick them all up very easily. But what I was going to say to you before we saw that beautiful bird is Marcel and I were trying to decide on a route to take. Another question from India, from 10-year-old Letitia. Wanting to know, what is my favorite animal or bird? Whew, okay. So, my favorite animal, if we're talking now just in general in the world, would have to be a turtle, a sea turtle. Beautiful, beautiful animals. Out here in the bush though, my favorite animal, I must say, would have to be, as I said, either the leopard or the elephant. Would have to be my two favorite animals. And birds, it is owls. We discovered the other day, I'm not very good at identifying them, but owls in general are amazing, amazing animals. Beautiful colors, patterns, abilities, just everything about the owls is incredible. So they would be probably my favorite bird. But it depends on the behaviors of what we're seeing. Depends on my sort of, what excites me that day. Like today, I just got a feeling that predators are going to provide for our morning safari. With the weather, with the rain, you can see I don't know if you can see, but everything's very wet. The grass is very, very wet. The leaves, the road, everything is wet. So it's good for us. It helps us decide on what routes to take, because now these two male lions, they were walking around last night, but now it's wet. They don't like in this long grass and get wet. So they will often walk along the road. Most lions, left predators like that, they will walk on the road. It's drier, it's easier, which then makes it easier for us to see their tracks. So that helps. Also now we know, okay, the rain, as I was saying in our first segment, washes away their scent. Luke from Australia, 17. The best time of day for a safari, I would say the morning. The morning is always an exciting drive. Mainly because at night, Luke, everything resets. It's a whole new environment come the morning, Luke. Because at night we've got all the predators moving around. You've got the different weather conditions. It's generally now this time of the year it's getting much colder. Might be a little bit of rain, dew, that sort of thing. So there's a bit more movement activity from the animals. So in the morning, you always got that excitement of where's the lion, where's the leopard, are they going to be doing this? You saw the lions, the two males last night, Luke's thing, we're like, I wonder how far they walked, I wonder did they join up with the pride, did they do this? So there's a bit more excitement in the morning game drives. So I would say, the morning, if you can brave the early wake up, then the morning is a great game drive. Also a bit more activity. But you can see the sun is breaking through quite nicely, getting a bit of color on the clouds. And it sounds like Lauren has decided to stop and have a look at them. They're looking very beautiful.
I am very much appreciating the sun right now because I am so cold. I'm waiting on the warmth breaking through. It may take some time, but we're giving you glorious views. Let's just take a moment to appreciate this very, very dramatic sky. It's really starting to pop through now. Actually starting to blind me, as beautiful as it is. I can now see stars in my eyes. It's going to be a wonderful day. I can feel it. What I've noticed, and again, this could just be a personal observation, that when the seasons are going through their transition period, so when they are going from winter into summer, or when they're going from summer into winter, what I've noticed is that there seems to be a lull in our animal sightings. And again, it could just be personal observations, but as the vegetation is starting to change, the temperatures are starting to change, just the general weather is changing, I notice that we see a lot less animals until that season comes back into full swing. And I think now we're in a transition season right between summer going into winter. Things are changing, and it just takes that little bit of time for things to adjust again. I can see that winter is pretty much here already. Very soon we'll be sitting with hot water bottles on our laps. Louise, can you just repeat that question? Man, you're 9 years old, and no, they don't. But it is worth noting that all of your sort of top predators out here are opportunistic. So what I mean by that is they will seize any opportunity to feed. They live a sort of feast and famine lifestyle. So if a leopard came upon a dead leopard, it wouldn't actively hunt that leopard or kill that leopard unless they were in a fight. But if they came upon a dead carcass or of a leopard, they would eat it. Absolutely. You would find another leopard eating a leopard. But they would not kill it for prey. No, Imam, they wouldn't do that. But they would eat it if they came upon it. Also lions. We've witnessed some very, very sad sightings with lions. During a bit of a battle, you will see lions eat other lions and cubs, I'm afraid. I know that's a little bit sad, but it is nature, and once an animal is dead, it's food. It's not going to come back to life, I'm afraid. So each apex predator would utilize that as food. But no, they don't hunt other cats as prey. Big cats and small cats. Okay, I'm going to make a decision here. I'm at a bit of a junction, and I've got to decide.
The tracks. We'll have a look, I think, at our little grebes now. Quick look. We shall attempt to forget about the debacle of the reported crested / black-necked / little / exotic grebe that we had here yesterday. It was a little grebe for anybody who was following what was nearly a debacle. Same little grebe that's been hanging around here, juvenile, since the adults arrived. Now, let us see if we can see the babies, as the light has improved. Oh, look, how many babies? Just still the 2 babies. The 2. And where are the other 2 eggies? Oh, this is too cute. We're just having a little breakfast. Where are your siblings? Maybe the other 2 eggies are gone. Doesn't look like there are any eggies in there. Oh, that is just priceless. How patient they wait for little mum and little dad. Louise saying how she loves the white eyebrows. Yes, there's not much not to love about these little grebes. They are incredibly sweet. Now, just watch carefully underneath her and see if she doesn't... No, she's sitting on eggs. She must be. Why else would she sit there? Unless it's just a comfortable place to look after the youngsters. It's quite warm there. Mum's feathers, doesn't it? Or Dad's. I'm not sure which it is. Just while we're looking at this close up, you see that white bit to the base of the bill there? That was very diagnostic for those of you who were involved in our little yes, debacle really is a good word, debacle of the suspected crested grebe here yesterday. That white tip to the bill, or base of the bill, after thoroughly investigating that photograph, is what certainly convinced me and many others who I sent the photograph to, and many of you who were not vaguely convinced that it was a crested grebe we were looking at. There are some Egyptian ghouls. Yeah, Matthew, it's possible that the water monitor lizard ate the other eggies. We hope that the other eggies were not devoured by a water monitor lizard, but it's certainly not impossible. Water monitor lizards do like to eat eggies. Soon this very gentle and peaceful family of Egyptian gooses, I suspect, is going to break up, simply because the little ones will have to move off and find their own homes. Maybe they'll hang around for a while longer. Good. That was marvellous. We shall pop past here, I think, again on the way home. In the meantime, let's go back across to Lauren, who's got a scavenger of the sky.
I have some white-backed vultures resting in a tree. Probably keeping warm. It's not quite warm enough, the ambient temperature, for them to start riding the thermals, as they do. They're heavy birds. It's not so easy for them to fly, so they wait till they can take off, open their ginormous wingspan. What are you eating? Or what on earth do you have in your mouth? Is that a worm? It looks like it's moving, Dobby. Or is it just a piece of bark? It looked very fleshy. I couldn't tell if it was a bird that was making it move or if it was an animal. What on earth are you two doing? Now, vultures have a terrible reputation. They really do. But they are important. They do swoop in and clean up carcasses. Helps get rid of diseases, viruses, pathogens, bacteria that would otherwise spread into the ecosystem. So although they don't have a great reputation, they are really important out here. Very intelligent birds and very amusing to watch. I watched them all yesterday swoop down on this carcass using their keen eyesight. As soon as they see A, a carcass, or B, other vultures swooping there. Now, there's said to be 9 different species of vultures found in South Africa, but this figure is sometimes argued because there is a vulture called the Egyptian vulture, which is very, very endangered, and the status within South Africa is also very uncertain. There's a few records of it being sighted, but this is also disputed. So the number 9 is sometimes argued. The Egyptian vulture is also said to be possibly extinct. They're not entirely sure, but many, many vultures are actually in trouble. And why are they endangered? They're mainly targeted for body parts. So in some cultures, traditional medicine, they different body parts of vulture is actually used in various forms of medicine, especially in the muti trade. So this presents a huge challenge for vultures themselves. And many cultures around Africa actually have superstitions about vultures. They're very superstitious about them. And sometimes this can result in them also being killed, I'm afraid. Davi is looking at a bird. Is it a Gymnogene?
I think so.
African harrier hawk. It is. Look at that. Well done, Davi. He made that look very easy, didn't he? It's not. It's not easy following birds. I was experimenting yesterday trying to take photos of birds, and it's so difficult. Louise, I completely lost all of your comms. Someone, age 14, let me just adjust my earpiece before you repeat. Joy, I got it now, my earpiece. Well, let's just say they're not in the best conditions. You are asking, do we get the African crowned eagle here? No, I don't believe we do. I'm going to try and look on my bird app so I can show it to you all, and I can also have a little look at the distribution. The distribution is quite small. Okay, let me get my porcupine pointer, and I'm going to show this to you all. Okay, that's the broken one. I have two. I have a broken one and a not broken one. Here we go. Are you ready, Davi? So Joshua, this is the bird you're asking about, the African crowned eagle. Let's see, beast, look at that. It is absolutely beautiful. And now I'm going to show you the distribution across South Africa. So this app is for South Africa only. And this is the distribution map. So what this means here, it's a red box. This is the IUCN status. I was talking about this website yesterday, and this means near threatened. So that's the status of this bird, which is also not good. It means it's in decline, and it's got quite a narrow distribution across South Africa. So I've never seen it here, but we should ask James just in case he has ever seen it around here. He's been here a lot longer than I have, but I have never seen the African crowned eagle, I'm afraid. So I think these vultures are around because of the carcass yesterday, and they just haven't left. They're being lazy. They eat a lot, and they also store food in their crop. They have a crop which is a little pouch of the esophagus that they're actually able to store food in, which means they can just digest, and when they get hungry they can just eat again. It's a very specialized design of the body, and a lot of birds do have it. This means that when they do find food, they can gorge, store it in their crop, and then they can feast on it a little bit later. It's a muscular pouch, and it's positioned near the throat, but it is essentially part of the digestive tract. But not all bird species do have them. And in doves and pigeons, believe it or not, everyone thinks they are the most boring birds out here. They can actually use their crop to store crop milk. Yes, pigeons can produce milk. Pigeon milk, and they use this to feed their chicks, which is really, really fascinating because normally this is just a feature of the mammals. So that's our 45 minutes up. Can you believe it? It's flown by. So now it's time to open up the drive to everybody. So kids, still keep asking your questions. They will still be read and put through to us. But of course, we will answer questions from everybody now, of all ages. Whether you are an adult or I don't know what's in between kids and adults. We will answer your questions. Okay, vultures, I'm going to bumble on now. Let's see what else I can find. This is a road that is a mystery for me right now because I always see leopard tracks and I can never find out who they belong to. So as I look for my tracks, we are going to send you back across to Sean and see what he's up to now.
My son and I decided to stop here. You can just see, just before the tree line on the screen there, the layer of mist. Very, very faint now. The sun's burning it away very quickly. But when we arrived here maybe 2 minutes ago, there's quite a fog bank over this clearing. a low-lying area, nice and open. It's the type of place where this mist would gather, or this fog would gather in the mornings. And we were hoping we were going to see a lion walk through, or an elephant, or anything sort of coming through that mist towards us. It's been really beautiful. We're also just listening. Now, they found tracks of one of these male lions heading further that way, down into the south of the reserve. But just the one. So what we're going to do is actually cross the river and head back to where they had the other brother, the one that didn't move. He stayed at a waterhole. Well, last night he did. So we're going to go have a look, see if he's still at that waterhole. Now, because as I said, they only have tracks of one brother heading down into the south. So we're going to head up there, see if we can find him, see if he's there or where his tracks go. And then we will come up with our own plan in terms of if we want to go south or if we want to stay in the central parts and see what we can find. I just got this feeling that we're going to find something good. So, a 10-year-old lay. I have not seen any animals battle each other. Not properly. You know, I've seen elephants chase lions. I've seen lions chase leopards, which is very cool to watch. But I've never seen two different species actually like battle, not like actual fighting. You know, I've seen them hunting, but never actually fighting each other. I think it would be quite interesting to watch. I would like to see it. Oh, okay, actually, I have seen hyenas fight with leopards and with wild dogs. And that's very cool, especially when they fight with wild dogs. Just the noises is insane. So that fight I have seen there, yes. That battle, which is a very cool battle. And perhaps, maybe this morning or tomorrow, or this afternoon rather, we will head south. South where we've been seeing most of our packs of the wild dogs. So we'll head down there maybe all afternoon. See if we can find ourselves a hyena and wild dog battle. You should YouTube it. Hyena versus wild dog, and just listen. You don't even have to actually watch what's happening, just listen. It is very, very cool. But I've seen sort of lions fight each other. I've seen those two Ross males fight that young Birmingham male, my favorite one, which we haven't seen in like 10 days. I'm getting a little bit worried. But anyway, I saw all of them battle once, which was also insane. But yes, so what we're going to do, we're going to carry on searching, looking, hopefully finding something really cool for you guys. In the meantime, though, we'll send you back across to James to see if he's found anything.
There's a great deal of searching going on at this stage. A great deal. Not a great deal of finding just yet. Anyhow, that's how it is. It's still very pleasant to be out in the wilderness today. On Wednesday morning. The sun has peeped through the clouds. I think we're in for a pretty day. It is autumnal. I wouldn't say it's wintry just yet. Quite autumnal. My sister lives in Scotland, and they seem to be having some relatively pleasant weather. And so I think the shift in seasons is well in progress. I'm glad I don't live in Scotland. Not that I have anything against the Scots, mind. But that weather. Did Sean manage to find you a mapani tree? I'm just going to have a look at those hornbills while I wait for Louise to tell us. Apparently not yet. I think they do operate quite a long way in the south of the reserve there. There are not many mapani trees. So, the yellow-billed hornbelow, what's that? doing a little dance. They like to do little dances for each other. The hornbills. Here we go. Normally begins with a little piping call. Unless you happen to be looking at them, in which case they'll just pretend that they weren't doing anything, that they were preening. I always loved the image of a hornbill. I remember driving out of the Ngala main camp, and there was a dead tree quite close by, and there was much like this, and always in the dead of winter, it would be a clear day, crisp but cold, and there would be this red-billed hornbill sitting kind of puffed out as much as he could be, staring to the east, willing the sun to come over the horizon, and you could just see the relief in his face when finally the first rays touched him, and he'd sit there for a good half an hour, warming up after the evening. And there's some redbills, so a mixed flock of hornbills. You clearly like a view of this. Are they? No, they're junior yellowbills.
They are quite young.
I think they're just junior yellowbills. Yeah, they are. They just don't have a heavy beak yet. They were probably born in that tree. They're still very good at personal hygiene, even though they're so young. JD, my favourite type of hornbill. You get some very spectacular hornbills in Asia. And so, I remember there was a beautiful black and white one. I think it was something obvious like the Asian pied hornbill, something like that. Anyway, there are lots of nice ones there. But I think in this part of the world, probably the trumpeter hornbill, which has got a remarkable call. It sounds like a yowling baby. I'm not sure that's why I think it's so cool, but it's got a lovely big casque on the top of its beak. So that would be my favourite. We do get them here sometimes, but very seldom. Here it's normally red, yellow-billed, the grey, and of course the ground vicious bird is the ground hornbill. It looks fairly innocuous until you look closely. And if you've ever seen it have at a snake or a tortoise, you would struggle to feel affection for it after that. Yes, we've seen ground hornbills swallow a baby scrub hare whole. A baby scrub hare. I think I've often said this, but I think one of the things that makes nature so compelling to us continuously, so we're always interested in it. It never leaves us with a sense of, boredom, is the fact that it is a constant wave of oscillating emotions, from incredible beauty to what really can be foul savagery, to soft kindness when you watch lions and their cubs together, to brutality when you watch a ground hornbill eat a little scrub hare that's just been born. And I think it's just so compelling that you have these oscillating emotions while observing the wilderness closely. And I often, at this kind of juncture, like to quote my friend James Kidd, who is a wonderful photographer and guide. He's, I wouldn't say esoteric, but he's as esoteric as a guy gets. And he once said, "Nature is neither cruel nor kind, nature just is." I think that's probably... nature is unapologetically as she is. And I think that's a really nice way of describing it. appropriately, the clouds have been alternating between ominous and casting golden light on these hornbills as we've watched them. Right, I think I've spoken enough nonsense to you right at this juncture. Let's continue down the road. We're heading off onto the northern boundary and then towards the east. Lauren has gone off to the western boundary, and so let's go and find out what's happening on that end.
Oh, dearie me, I'm not hearing Louise. Let me just try and screw in my earpiece one more time. Bear with me 2 seconds. I did not have any idea what you said there, Louise, but I am on the western boundary, and unfortunately, there is not a animal to be seen. I have put my scarf on. The sun has not warmed us in any way, shape or form, which is rather unfortunate. I was hoping once it appeared, we would get some warmth. Sorry, Louise. I heard Amanda. Hi, Amanda. I hope you're well. You are asking me a question. Shall we try one more time, Lou? What is winter like? Louise is still explaining what winter's like. I got you. What is winter like? Winter is cold. It's really, really, really cold. It's so cold. But of course, it's not as cold as Scotland, so it probably shouldn't be so dramatic. But it's normally very pleasant in terms of light. So it's very, very bright. The sun will still be shining, but it will be a cold sun, if that makes sense, Amanda. So rain, you won't really get many bouts of rain. The rain is normally rain normally happens in summer. Thunderstorms happen in summer. It's all to do with the low pressure systems that we get. So winter is normally quite pleasant, chilly, but pleasant. Sunny blue skies, very little cloud, and just cold temperatures. So we will be wrapping up. You will see us with hats and scarves and gloves, hot water bottles, copious amounts of flasks and coffee. But in terms of animal viewing, I'm not sure if you're asking about animal viewing or weather, it's good. So all the vegetation will recede. It will not be as green. If I was to show you one of my photos from winter, you will be surprised. You may even be shocked. The lands will be monotonous. It will be that sort of the color of straw, the color of hay, an orangey, creamy yellow color. And there'll be no flowers to see. Only the evergreen trees will retain their leaves. It will be very barren and very monotonous. That's the only way I can think to describe it. But it makes it a lot easier to see the animals. So of course we had the Talamatis on a zebra kill just into Buffelshoek, and we really couldn't show you it properly because the vegetation is so dense and thick. Now if that was winter, we would have perfect viewing. Our camera would be able to zoom right in, and we would be able to show you most likely the carcass and the lions. So winter is so different. There's a stark contrast between the two seasons and very little sort of gradient in between. In South Africa, we don't really have autumn as we do in Europe or even America. There is a transition season that they call spring and autumn, but sort of the gradient, the change is not the same. And it comes quickly. Before you know it, winter is here. So I hope that answers your question, Amanda. But it's only going to get colder. Ooh, not a big fan of the cold. But at least it's so sunny. The sun will still be out. Now we have another vehicle approaching, so I'm just going to move over so I can give them enough room to pass. Okay, I'm going to stop and pull over so this vehicle can get past. And as I do that, we're going to send you back across to Sean and Ngala. Hi, how are you? Have you...
So we've had some developments recently. So the tracking team, just over there, Andre and Rowan, found a lioness. And she was walking from the river, which is... So there's Andre and Rowan. They're helping us look here. So they had her just other side of this tree line here. Is where they had her. That's the river. and she was walking up in this direction. Now we're not sure exactly where she is crossing. That's why they're a little bit further back behind us. They're scanning sort of in line with them and then backwards, and we're scanning this clearing here where Marcel's looking, and then further off to our right or in front of us to see where she's going to cross up. So this is the young Birmingham female, the sister, the one that we think has those cubs that we still have not seen yet, but that's the lion that we're waiting here for. Now what I'm hoping, just behind us there's a little bit of a waterhole, very, very small, not much water left there, but I think it is her closest water source. And I'm hoping that now she's been out maybe hunting last night, and now she's going to come up, walk across this beautiful sunlit clearing, and head to this waterhole. But there's also a chance that she's lying down inside of there. And the thing is, we are not going to off-road inside of there, because remember what I just said, she has those cubs, and we don't know exactly where they are. And she could have moved them anywhere inside this tree line. And the cubs now, they're still probably very, very young. And their natural instinct would be to hide. So they'll go in a bush where we stash them, and they'll just keep very, very, very still, very, very, very quiet. And we won't know. So we don't want to go driving around there through bushes, over bushes, close to bushes, where we might, disturb the cubs, interfere, or, possibly even drive over the bush that they're in. So we do not off-road. We're going to stay here and see. I think Rowan and them are looping back around into the river, Rowan and Andre, to see if perhaps she just did a loop and walked back into the river. There, I see her. Okay, just on the left-hand side there. There she is. Yeah, Rowan and Andre, I got visual. So there you can see her. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at her just having a look around there. That's stunning. So we're going to see where she is. That's not where I thought she was going to come out, to be completely honest. I thought she was going to come out of these trees towards us. It looks like she did a loop around us and is now going the other way. Oh, but that is stunning. Look at the muscles in the shoulder. Erica, we are not sure how many cubs she's had. No, it's more than one. I've heard them before, and it's definitely more than one. Most likely 2, from what some of the rangers have seen on suckle marks on her teats. It looks like two cubs. So she's got 4 teats, but it looks like only 2 of them have been suckled on. It is also her first litter, Erica. So I would say probably 2. But this is all just me, educated guessing. Look at her belly there, it's still quite big. I don't know, hard to say if she's eaten or that's just left over from her sort of pregnancy. But look at that camouflage. She's not even trying to hide, she's walking and she's blending in there phenomenally well. She's headed straight back down into the river. We're going to stay here and we're just going to see, because she's already lost us once when she did a loop around. I want to see if she doesn't turn again. So Maddie B, these animals, they remember and they can smell water. So Maddie B wants to know how these lions and the animals know where water is, seeing that it's not always permanent, like this waterhole. Yeah, will dry up in the next, probably a couple of days, maybe a week or so. These animals are very clever, so they know where water is. They've been to it before. They know if I go to this area, it does have water. They can smell the water. It's just instinctual. They know how to find it. This type of weather is good for them. Cats, be it lions, leopards, or even wild dogs even. I said earlier there's a lot of moisture on the leaves, on the grass, and these animals, sorry, I just want to listen. There's an impala alarm calling behind us. I think he might have just smelt or maybe seen the lion. He's a bit late. But what these animals will do is they'll lick the grass. lick the leaves to get the moisture, the droplets on those leaves to get water. If there are, or the water holes in their area have dried up, they can do that and get some water as they're moving to a more permanent source. But these animals have been here for a long time. I mean, lions have been occurring here for many years, and they learn from their parents. You know, so this female will take her cubs to a water source, and then they will learn as they're growing up. Okay, there's water here, or when that one dries up, she'll go to a different one, maybe, and then the cubs will learn. Okay, we've got to go here now, and that's how they will learn where the water is. They'll follow the pride 2-3 years, and they'll pick up. This is how we get water. This is how we can find water. This is how we can smell for water. Things like that. This impala is still calling. Now, I haven't seen any sign of this lioness sort of coming back around the bushes. What I do want to do, though, is just reverse a bit. See if we can get a look at this impala. Maybe he's also got a different angle on the lioness. And we could have another look there. Reversing is sometimes quite tricky. There's the pedal. Okay. Because she might have just stopped around the bush. You know, we never know. She was hunting last night, I'm assuming. And if she was, maybe she was unsuccessful. And she's still looking to hunt. But I can't see either the impala or the lion. And that's the thing. I heard James was talking about the bush. We were saying earlier about how when's the best time to go on game drive. And a lot of game drive is it's luck. It's not luck. It's timing. You got to be in the right place at the right time. Like that lioness now. We saw her for that minute and a half as she walked through the clearing. If we were a minute and a half late, you wouldn't have seen anything. You know. So a lot of it is timing. You got to be in the right place at the right time. As much as we know where to look and what we're looking for and where to start, it does also come down to timing. I can't see that impala at all. We're going to listen again, because it could also be a completely different predator. Maybe a hyena, it could be a leopard, could even be the rest of the lion pride. My soul was secretly hoping that this female was going to lead us to the rest of the pride. That would have been very cool. The impala has stopped calling. I can't hear him. So what we're going to do, me and my soul, we're going to sit here. We're going to see if we can hear this impala, see if the lion comes back out. While we're doing that, what we're going to do is send you across to Taylor. See what she's up to.
Can you hear me now? Sorry, I have to sit up very awkwardly to do this. But I found some tracks in the sand that were quite interesting. So they're over here. There's two of them. 1 foot over there, the other foot over here. Now, I think that this animal, whatever it was definitely walking before the rain that we had last night. But these tracks weren't here because I drove up and down this road yesterday. And I can see that a lot of my tire tracks on this section have washed away. I have a suspicion that it could be a water mongoose track. I'm going to have a look. Yeah, look at the track over here. This is it. So but I'm not 100% certain. I'm going to need an expert opinion here. This is happening. There's a little bit of water on it, but like I said, the rain has washed most of my vehicle track away from yesterday, and I didn't see these tracks right here. So I think it could be a water mongoose, and they typically quite a tree, and normally at night time. Now, there is very quickly, it's just my mic pack that is creating those crackles and its position, but I think that one of these creatures have been wandering down this road. I don't know if I have a picture in any of my books. We can have a quick look. Let me get back to the vehicle and dig through my box of things. That'd be quite cool. I actually haven't seen a water mongoose in years. The last time that I saw one was probably when I was guiding in the Eastern Cape of South Africa, mammals is the one I most likely want to go to. Sorry, this might take just 2 seconds. I haven't used this book in ages. Those are antelopes, lions. Where's the mongoose? There must be next. Rodents, squirrels. We're getting somewhere. Vervet monkeys. This always takes some time. But anyways, to see something like a water mongoose would be awesome. But I am by no means an expert tracker, and I do find them quite difficult. I don't know why I always find it so difficult to find things in a book. You have to get quick at these things, you see, and then they just disappear. Where is the M? Mongoose. Monkey. Mongooses. Marsh. Water. Okay, here we go. Marsh mongoose. 331. Please be what we're looking for. 331. We actually might have a look at the track too in this book and see what they say. I don't know. Here's the tracks that we're talking about. You'll have a look at them now. So that's what I thought we were kind of seeing, but maybe not. Maybe something else is here. Maybe there was a rogue vervet monkey that happened to be wandering about, but I'm not sure. The size matches very, very well, but it's so difficult to tell. But it just looks like very long toes. Anyways, there's quite a bit of water around, and I've seen water mongoose and otters actually. I've seen otters in really strange places too. I was once told no ways that there are otters in the Sabi Sand, the one reserve I worked at, and it was quite incredible. During high tea one morning, we were staring out, serving everybody coffee, and the next minute I pointed and said, "What is that over there?" And basically out of this pan that was in front of the camp ran an otter straight towards one of the rivers that didn't flow but all the time. So you can see pretty much anything out here. But anyways, I don't really know what that was, but on its own, and it was walking along this road. So yeah, so that was quite interesting. I need to brush up on tracking, that's for sure, and definitely focus a little bit more. But just very long toes, you can see the claws quite nicely, and it matches the size of a water mongoose, right? Laura, they're quite heavy in terms of, I'd say, probably between 3 and 4.5 kilograms, so a decent weight. Maybe about the size of a white-tailed crackling. Oh no, sorry. Maybe about the size of a white-tailed mongoose of sorts. I don't think I'm able to demonstrate to you, but remember, mongoose typically have quite long tails, so a large portion of their body has got quite a long tail. Did I not show you a picture? Was there not a photo in here of the mongoose? 331. I'm so impressed with myself that I remembered. I can't believe it. I don't have a big mammals book here, so it's going to be quite testing. Do they know where to go and look for a picture of a mongoose? Probably not. I don't know why I couldn't find them in mammals. Squirrels, elephants, aardvark, those things, antelope, mongoose. Okay, here's a picture. Banded, water or marsh. So obviously the white-tailed mongoose is the largest of the mongoose species. They're also nocturnal, so not quite as big, but they're quite heavy. I'm trying to remember how heavy is a white-tailed mongoose, because these creatures are not small just from the size of their tracks. I mean, it's a decent size. And apologies, my hands are covered in mud because I've been playing in the sand today, and everything is very wet and very muddy. So that's what these mongoose look like. There was a mongoose in Sri Lanka. What was it called? A ruddy mongoose, actually, that looks very, very similar to the water mongoose. I have pictures of them. I just don't have any of those pictures handy with me right now. But a ruddy mongoose and a water mongoose or a marsh mongoose look fairly similar. So yeah, I saw lots of those while I was in Sri Lanka, funny enough. And that's kind of all I have to show you here, because we're still looking for the cheetah. She's somewhere in this block. We just kind of need to figure out in this dense vegetation where her and her youngsters are hiding and trying to dry off. So while I work with the research team to locate her, let's go to James, and I think he's just doing a bit of a bumble.
I am doing a bit of a bumble. We found one Natal spurfowl since last I saw you. Great sighting of it. Walked around on the road a bit and then it walked into the bush. I know you're jealous. I know you are. I don't blame you. But we can't show you everything. Sometimes sacrifices must be made, and you've just made one. We are now approaching Buffelshoek Waterhole, where, as per yesterday, I'm expecting the teeming herds to have arrived to drink their morning coffee. Here we go, up onto the top of the damn wall, and behold the great swathe of exuberant life that has come down to the shores to slake their thirst. Phew! Difficult to know where to look. Now, Owen, I know that this is tremendously exciting, but try and hold it together as you film the magnitude of nature's bounty here. The grey hornbill in the background, piping. The Cape turtle dove. And the grebe. Behold. Did you see the grebe, Owen? Now, one of these grebes has got a baby. Well, they both have a baby, but one of them carries it around. But it is a very secretive grebe. Yesterday we tried to get it on camera. We got it. But they are not very keen on being seen. They have not habituated like the other ones. Now, you see, this one doesn't have a baby, I don't think. Is that all you can birth, Owen?
Yeah, I can get on that now.
There we are. Now, this one is definitely not carrying the babies. And you can see which one is because the wing... I don't know. The wings are normally quite sort of far up. Yes, she's not carrying babies. Unless those babies have already learned to hold their breath.
You see another one?
There is another one, but she does not like to be in view of the vehicle, and she has probably gone off behind that fallen tree. I don't know, Louise. I think they can be underwater for about a minute. Yesterday, the crested, not crested grebe was underwater for quite a long time, and in fact disappeared. I don't know where it went. So it flew away underwater for some distance before popping up again.
It's not a grebe's nest, that's the old buffalo weaver.
There is a grebe's nest in there that looks like an old buffalo weaver's nest, though, yeah. I think that's a buffalo weaver's nest, but if you go to the right, the nest is sort of around there-ish. Somewhere in there is the grebe's nest. This is a torchwood tree that stood on this bank for a very long time. Heinrich, his stomach is not gurgling currently, but you would not be incorrect in being slightly suspicious that you may have heard the cameraman's stomach growling at various stages during our safaris. Owen's is quite quiet, relatively. David's stomach growls on a continuous basis. Mine doesn't do too badly, but you probably can't hear mine. But yes, sometimes you can hear the cameraman's stomach growl. I don't think Owen's has started yet, has it, Owen?
No,
You've had your rusks.
Bar with me.
He's got a snack bar with him, you see. Well, I think after that excitement we should probably move on. Hang on, wait. There's a dove on the road in front of us. We don't want to rush forward. Oh, Look at that, it's showing us its bottom. Cape turtle dove. Look at the wide variety of colours on offer in this picture. Dull sand, dull bird, dull grass behind it, dull old buffalo dung in front of it. Gosh, if dull is your beat, then this is it. Yeah, now some sun's coming out to brighten the situation. We are now going to go down the eastern boundary. You are going to go to the western boundary where Lauren is trawling.
Oh no, they just disappeared. We had two beautiful male. Ah, here's one. Can you see it, Davy, or do you need me to reverse? Two beautiful male Ngala bulls. Now, they're slightly younger. You can tell by the shape of their horns. They're not fully grown, magnificent bulls yet. Now, we've just circled back around. I heard from someone that there was sowing at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't know if that was the case, Lou. I'm not sure if that's the update, but it was heard on the dam cam, I believe. Oh, Louise is saying she also heard it. Okay, then somebody's been here. And I just wonder if I can just loop around again because there was rain last night. I just wonder if the leopard, whoever it may be, was scent marking, which means he'll be mobile. So sometimes it's worth just looping around and looping back around and seeing if you can catch up with anyone. So that's what we're doing here. But these Ngalas look like they're thoroughly enjoying whatever they're munching on. Yummy. They're browsing. Today is food delivery day camp, which means there's no food. So I have no snacks, which means I'm hungry. I imagine Davy will be hungry too. So I'm a little bit jealous watching this Ngala enjoy his leaves. Kieran, you're in Cape Town and you're asking about the dam cam. Yes, it is live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Unless there's a technological problem, unless there's an issue that needs to be sorted, that dam cam is on. And there's zoomies, we call them zoomies, which is such an awesome name, people that actually do shift work to control the dam cam. They do incredible work. And, of course, they are the ones that are moving it. We can also move it from our end as well. And, yes, you can tune in at any point. Sometimes it's nice to have on in the background. You can just have the dam cam playing on your laptop and hear all the sounds and all the calls and the movements of the animals and the frogs and the birds and the insects. Sometimes we have an issue with the monkeys. Yes, the monkeys end up jumping on the dam cam and completely breaking it or moving it. So the camera is positioned to look at the sky, which means our tech department then have to go back and fix it all. So yes, that's rather entertaining. We've had many monkey moments. Okay, Davy, shall we let this Ngala enjoy his breakfast? And we're just going to bumble around. See what else we can see. We may bump into a leopard, we may not, but let us see. So as I bumble down this ditch, we are going to send you back across to Sean for an update on his side.
So we have now crossed the river onto the southern side, so the opposite side of where we just saw that lioness. Now she crossed through the river, which you can see the sand there in front of me over there. That's the sand, that's the river. As she crossed through there, and currently up this path. So we are just having a quick look here to see if we can see her. So it was a few minutes ago that she did cross up here, so I don't know if she lay down over here or she has actually gone further up or where exactly. So we're just going to have a little look. Rowan and Andre are still waiting in the river just to see. She's been walking up and down around in circles. So to see maybe she comes back down into the river, something like that. So we will patrol up here. Not for long though. We just want to have a quick look and see if maybe she's got a stash or something here. Remember I said she did look a little bit full. It could be maybe she's hidden a carcass here somewhere. We just want to have a look, or maybe she's just lying down, grooming herself, resting from a night of hunting or just patrolling. So far we can't see anything. It also becomes a bit tricky now. Remember I was saying earlier, oh, it's wet. You know, they don't like being wet, it's cold, that sort of thing. So generally lions will lie down in the shade, you know, help regulate their body temperature, stay nice and cool. The sun's coming out, it's warming up quite a lot. So, you know, normally they would be lying in the shade. But now because it's wet, she's lying in the sun. So we've got to be looking everywhere. And as you can see here, it's quite thick, lots of grass. So actually seeing tracks for me is almost impossible. Unless I find a very clear game path, a very clear trail that she's following, maybe a bit more open, more sandy. Would be easier for me to see the tracks. But yes, I would agree with all of you viewers commenting about the lighting and the weather. It is very, very beautiful here. And it's the water droplets on the grass. So the sun's obviously shining down now. It's catching all of these water droplets, giving the grass that sort of whitish reflective color, which is stunning. So I'm hoping to find her, because if we can see her walking through this grass with this sort of reflection in the water, it's, yeah, it is exactly. Marcel says majestic, and I must agree with him. It is majestic. Seeing any of the animals, that's the beautiful thing about winter. Even though it is so bitterly cold, the scenery that you get is incredible. Now we've got the changing of the seasons. I know Lauren was talking about that earlier. So you're getting, you know, different colors. These are starting to go brown, starting to go red, that sort of thing. What is that? Nothing. And so you get that color difference, and then you get that contrast with the animals. You get the droplets, the reflection of the sun. It is a beautiful time of the year. Now we can find this lion. It'd also be beautiful. So Jane, I do mind, very much so. So Jane's 11. She wants to know if we mind the twigs hitting us as we're driving. Jane, very much. Generally hit you on the face. You know, you're able to see them and you can just duck or dodge or block. It's the legs. So I don't have a door. So a lot of the times the thorn trees will come and they'll scrape your legs. My right leg has many, many scabs and scars on it. Yeah, but the worst, Jane, the worst is spider webs. Spider webs in the morning. If you drive on a road that's got trees on the side and they build their webs across the road, but you can't see them because it's very thin spider silk and it goes on your face, it is it's not my favorite activity in the bush. I spend most of my time just pulling out of my eyes, out of my ears. It's not as fun as I make it sound, Jane. It's really not. That's why I'm quite excited for winter. Winter, all of the spiders, all of the flies, all of the bugs, they sort of disappear. So they don't go in my face anymore, which is quite lovely. Sometimes they go on the camera lens. You see myself sometimes cleaning the lens, getting all the spider webs away. But look, we haven't had any fresher signs of this lioness coming up onto the side. We know she is here somewhere. She could be hiding from us. I am trying to follow these game paths to see if she's walked down one of them. But what we don't want to do is just drive around in the bush and just, you know, drive around in circles not knowing exactly where she is, because that's just not good. So what we're going to do, we're going to head back towards the road. we'll drive up and down the road, see if she's maybe crossed the road already, find her tracks. They should be very, very fresh, so easy to see. See if she's crossed the road. If not, then we might let some of the track come they can find their foot make pre-starters. Okay, lose the balls so quick. All they do is tie down. They want a bush drive around, and you lose sight of them, and they just change direction. They stop, and they're gone. And they are hiding. But it's quite peculiar what this lioness is doing. So she was first on the southern side of the river, and then she crossed to the northern side, and then she crossed back south. So I'm not sure exactly what she's doing. But while we try and figure that out, see if we can find her again, we're going to send you across to James, who has a martial eagle.
She's not even acknowledged it. Has she seen it? Oh, hello everyone. I didn't realize you were with us. We have a juvenile martial eagle. Now, I'm wondering if it's the same one James had yesterday. I'm not sure. It's very, very difficult to know if you're seeing the same individual, but we don't tend to see a lot of martial eagles around here. A few, but not a lot. Definitely not the population numbers that you do see in the Masai Mara. And this is a juvenile. So you can see that tuft or that crest of feathers on the top of the head. And normally you can see straight away that it's a juvenile of any raptor by the sort of condition and position of the feathers or the plumage. They look very, very messy. They look like someone needs to take a comb and run it all the way through their feathers. And normally that's a giveaway that it's a juvenile form. The sort of coloration and pattern of the plumage is very messy. So you can see that there's spots and splodges and there's not a unique coloration. And that's another sign sometimes that it's a juvenile. Now, martial eagles are incredible. I love them. They are one of the biggest, actually, eagle that we get out here. Sits at 4 kilograms, which is about 9 pounds. Oh, I think. No, that's really wrong. Yeah, 9 pounds. I'm getting better at this. And it's really has a very large wingspan. Now, the female is larger than the male, and that's very, very common among raptors. For the female to always be bigger, and this is for reproductive reasons. The males do not have to be as large, and the females are said to be, on average, darker. They do have slightly different color morphs, but the females are said to be darker. Oh, isn't this gorgeous? Owen's been desperate to see a martial eagle here. He'll be very jealous. Emma, you're asking why is the head so pretty? Floofy. Floofy, that's one of my favorite words, floof. How did you know that, Emma? I love that word. Again, it's another form of the juveniles. So just in case any of you have possibly never seen a martial eagle before, I am going to show you on my bird application what the adults look like. They do have that crest of feathers. It's a signature key feature of the martial eagle. And you can see right here, this is what the adult looks like. So the plumage is different, but they do still have this crest or crown of feathers that stick upright, making them look like they have permanent bedhead. I'm just going to scroll, and there you can see this is the immature form. So this is a juvenile, and this is what we're looking at. Compared to the adult, it's strikingly different. You can see it's far more white on the underside. So this is what we're looking at here, a martial eagle, the largest eagle we find here. But this obviously has got some growing to do. And they're incredible hunters. I've actually witnessed and been sent to many martial eagle kills up in the Masai Mara when I was working there. I was working very, very closely with the martial eagle project. And they had all the martial eagle pairs tagged because they're monogamous, the male and females. And they were able to tell when a individual was sitting or roosting in the tree, like this one is here now, or when they were flying, or when they were going in for a kill. And we used to get the GPS points and we would run to the kill to find out what it was, and very often it was large adult impalas. Yes, that is how good they are at hunting. Oh, we're going to leave our little Marshall. I'm very happy with the sighting, and it appears that James has both kudu and elephants for you.
We've got a lovely picture of a kudu there, standing atop a termite mound and surveying her domain. Kudu do this quite frequently, and they do it because termite mounds provide vantage, but they also do it because termite mounds are full of very nutritious soil, which in turn transfers to the plants that they eat, which are then nutritious. Now, what the kudu is looking at is Owen's spectacular haircut, but also the herd of elephants that is slowly making its way out of the thickets to say hello to us. Owen to the left-hand side of the kudu comes our first elephant of the day. And there it is. I think it's just two little bulls, or two young bulls. You can hear the robins calling in the background. It is at a time like this that one feels so deeply privileged to be out here. Hello, Rana. You're 8 years old in Singapore and wondering if an elephant's tusks are sharper than a dinosaur's teeth. Well, Rana, remember that there were lots and lots of different kinds of dinosaurs, and some of them ate grass and leaves, and I think you'll find that their teeth were pretty blunt, like the back of your teeth. And then some dinosaurs ate meat, and you'd probably find that they had really sharp teeth. The elephant's tusk is also sometimes sharp and sometimes not so sharp. I would say, though, that the sharpest dinosaur tooth was probably sharper than the sharpest elephant tusk. Wouldn't it be lovely to see a dinosaur, eh? Unfortunately, that is very unlikely in our lifetime, unless Jurassic Park is brought to life, which I think is equally unlikely. And as somebody asked me a little while back, they said, do you think it'll be possible to see dinosaurs? And I said, no, that they died out a long time ago, but I wasn't too sure how long ago that was. And in a very kind viewer got hold of us and informed us that dinosaurs died out about 65 million years ago. So long before even the first human being walked on the land. So Rana, you're in good company. You haven't seen a dinosaur, nor has any human being that's ever lived seen a dinosaur. Isn't it amazing to think about? But now instead of dinosaurs, we've got beautiful animals like this elephant. It's walking peacefully towards the north. Kelly, yes and no. They have been kicked out of the herd, but they've also chosen to leave. They've got to an age now where they don't want to be in the herd anymore. They're exerting their independence. And they're now at that sort of age. I'd put him at around about 20, maybe 25. They're now at that age where they'll spend time with each other in small groups. So there are 2 balls here. There's another one that's just sort of wandered off towards the north of where we are now. And the phase after this is where they'll start to become almost completely alone. Not always, not permanently, but most of the time. See how quiet he is. And it's where their similarities, I think, or the really nice analogies with human beings kind of stop, because these chaps will do their best to live on their own. Whereas there are very few human males that will do that. Human males obviously like to, we're a social species permanently. And these guys are social when they're young, and then they stop being social. They cease being social completely. And they're very similar to human bulls or human males until they're about 20, 25 odd, and then that changes. And they become very independent and very alone, which they like. Look at his clever trunk. Well, Harley, yes, people say that, but it's not strictly speaking true, is it? You say, to be fair, there are dinosaurs all around me in the form of birds. Yes, but none of the birds that we see now occurred 65 million years ago with the dinosaurs. Maybe some of them looked relatively similar, but none of them occurred in the same species that we have now. So, yes, I see what you're saying, but I'm going to say I don't agree, because when we talk about dinosaurs, when Rana and I talk about dinosaurs, we mean brontosauruses and tyrannosaurs and stegosauruses and triceratopses and those iconic great reptiles that wandered around the place. But yes, I take your meaning. Look how brilliant that finger, or those fingers are, at the edge of a trunk that can pull down an enormous tree branch or break off just an individual section of leaves there. Now what he's eating is a tree with a lovely Latin name called Gymnosporia buxifolia. Gymnosporia buxifolia. I think it's such a fun name. And if you were to try and put that in your mouth, you would gag. It is so full of tannin that I don't know how that elephant is coping with it. And it's not a tree I often see elephants eat. He's got quite a distinctive wrinkle there between his eyes, doesn't he? Looks like he's almost like he's wearing an Alice band. Elephant with an Alice band. I don't think he is, though. Right, I'm not going to leave this elephant just yet. I'm going to sit here on the eastern boundary. You're going to go back across to Lauren, who's got a spider.
I got my girlfriend. This one's my friend. I come to visit her a lot. How you doing there, girl? You're kind of upside down. Just a little bit upside down there. One of those mornings, I know the feels. I have no banana and peanut butter. Hungry Lauren and hungry Davy. However, I don't think this girl is going to go hungry because she has her food wrapped up in the web. Imagine, whenever you feel hungry, you just move a little bit and your snack is already prepared. That is the life. Yes, there's all sorts of delicious snacks hanging in her golden web. She is, of course, a golden orb web spider, for any of you who have never seen this beautiful creature before. She may look initially terrifying. And actually, she is terrifying, to be completely honest, but she's also beautiful. getting some movement. Look at her. Look at the... Oh, I think she's going to start producing silk. Hold on. Yes, silk is coming at her. No, she's holding on to it. If you just look at the very, very bottom of her lower abdomen, you'll see what looks like, I can only describe it as a belly button, an outie. You know how you get an innie or an outie? It looks like an outie. But that's actually her spinnerets. That's where the silk comes out from different glands. She has 7 different glands in there, and she can produce different types of silk with different thickness. And it comes out from her lower abdomen, and she weaves it with her legs. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but she's almost cute. It's cute the way she's just hanging on there, supporting her body weight on a web. It's just made from protein. It's built from amino acids. And she's able to just, well, pull it out from her outie belly button and weave it with 8 different legs. I think that's just incredible. Now, the different types of silk are produced in the different glands. So each one of the glands that are inside her spinnerets will produce a different type of silk. And spiders obviously have 8 legs, just in case you were a little bit unsure of that. Most spider species, but not all, have 8 eyes, and they all have normally maximum 8 spinnerets inside that little funny looking belly button. So the number 8 is quite important to a spider, but it can differ. It does depend on the species, and the spinnerets are found in pairs, which means you will always have an even number of them, 2, 4, 6, 8. And they are what produce the silk. And you can have a difference. When I say a different type of silk, what I mean is it can vary in thickness and stickiness. Official Nakia, you're asking about banana spiders. I believe you are looking at one. I am pretty sure golden orb-web spiders get called banana spiders. And I think, if I am to guess why, it's due to their coloration. We don't actually call them banana spiders here, but this is a golden orb-web spider. Also called weavers, golden orb weavers. But I'm not keen on using the word weavers because of the birds. But yes, I think this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a banana spider. And I think the name banana spider comes from Australia. They call their orb-web spiders their banana spiders. But essentially, it's all spiders in the genus Nephilia. It's kind of cool calling them banana spiders, I guess. Do you like that term, girl? She does. Clayton, sorry, Clayton, my bad. No, they don't bite humans, but all spiders are venomous. They all contain venom, but there's a difference when you talk about venom and poison, and it's all in the method of delivery. Venom needs to be injected, normally from fangs or chelicerae and spiders, and it needs to enter into the human's bloodstream, if you like. So they are different when you talk about venom and poison. Poison is absorbed or ingested. So a poison animal can really only deliver any form of toxic chemicals if another animal touches it or eats it, whereas venom must be injected. And this can be in many different forms: stabs of tails from a scorpion, or slashed with spine, or pierced into the skin from fangs, or even harpoons. Animals in the ocean, especially your cone shells or your cone snails, can inject their venom using a very special appendage that we call a harpoon. So all spiders are venomous, but if this spider was just to walk on you, which I really can't bear to think about, then you cannot be harmed. It has to be injected into your bloodstream. But not all spiders bite. They have to have the mechanism and the appendages in order to inject it. So I think this golden orb-web spider can actually bite you, but it's very, very rare that it would actually do that. I don't believe any humans have been harmed by this individual. They're incredibly skittish as well. So yes, I think they can bite, but I don't believe they often do. So I'm going to leave my friend here now. I just like to catch up with her on a daily basis, and we are going to send you back across to Mr. Henry.
Here we have got our elephants, and it would seem that this herd is in fact, at least this little group of bulls too, is trailing a herd of elephants slowly, which makes sense. That will happen as they slowly separate themselves. There are a couple of others further up north. North is to the left of your screen, by the way. You are now looking south-east. In case it was worrying you, which I don't suppose it is. We're doing a little bit of what we call visual trespassing again. These elephants are on Torchwood, which is the reserve east of Djuma. Now, while you look at the elephants, our kudu is still standing pinyon on top of the termite mound, which is a good thing, because if a leopard comes wandering past, it will go, ho, ho, and then we shall thank it and go and look at the leopard. It has very good eyes, good ears, and it is chewing a piece of gum. Obviously quite a big piece of gum. For any of our younger viewers who are wondering, it's not actually chewing a piece of gum. Well, maybe our older viewers too. It is chewing the cud. Alright, Owen, I think this kudu's had enough attention. Let's go back to our elephants. Our young bulls. I keep saying this, but there's something so immensely pleasurable about being around elephants when they are in this state. An interesting question from Invincible Chap. Hello, Invincible Chap. The elephants cannot cry because they do not have tear ducts, but their eyes do produce moisture, and that moisture tends to form or to clean the eye and make a gunky white substance in the corner of the eye. But they cannot cry as such. Now, I think we had a discussion of crying the other day, and our question was, do any other animals shed tears in an emotional way? So elephants will definitely start to stream from the gland between the eye and the ear, but that's not crying. And I couldn't think of another animal whose eyes well up in it and become glassy when it is in some kind of emotional distress, or sometimes it can be very happy. Well, I'm not sure that we are the only animals that do that. I think tears are largely used to clean out the eyes in those animals that can have tear ducts and the glands associated with them. Yeah, I don't know. Louise is asking the valid question, and I cannot answer her. She's saying, what about chimps or the other great apes? So basically, logically saying, well, the closer you get to us, surely the more likely you are to find similar kind of traits. And I don't know. I don't know if chimps cry. I know they're intensely emotional at times, but I don't know if they're able to express that in tears, or if the body expresses it in tears. I'm not sure why we do. I'm not sure what the purpose is of crying from a physiological or evolutionary perspective. Perhaps the act of crying releases a whole lot of hormones. Okay, so Louise saying that when she was doing her BSc science degree, she remembers hearing or reading that our eyes make tears, we think, in order to clear the eyes out during a stressful period as a kind of fight or flight response, so that if we have to fight or fly, our eyes are clean and able to see properly. But I must say I struggle with that, given that normally when I cry, at least 3 or 4 times a week, I can't see a thing. I'd definitely run into a tree. If I was walking along a clearing one day and saw a lion and my eyes welled up, I'd run into a tree. Ah, there we go. The Real Deal is saying bonobos cry. Thank you, The Real Deal. So bonobos have a drizz, as they say. So bonobos are very close to us. Well, the closest there is to us. One would assume, therefore, that most of our hominid ancestors could do the same. And it must serve some kind of evolutionary purpose, I would imagine. It may be as uncomplicated as a signaling mechanism, so that you're able to signal to other members of your social species that you are deeply emotionally affected, as opposed to just saying you are, and being a bit of a con artist about it. I know my mother's cat cries from time to time, but that's when she has a disease in her eye. Rebecca, we watched an elephant push over a tree last night, interestingly. It was a cow, and she was with her baby, and she pushed over a silver cluster leaf, and then started feeding on the top branches. So yes, I have watched it. It can be, look, it's interesting, it's fascinating to watch how strong they are, but it can be kind of depressing, because a tree takes a long time to get to its great, magnificent height. Ooh, okay. We're going to stay here for a little bit longer, but you're going to go over to Karongwe Eco Training, where Taylor's managed to find her cheetahs.
I'm so sorry I'm moving, but we've literally just lost visual of these cheetah as you came to us. It's okay. Doesn't like the big trucks on the road, neither does Mom. So again, on the main road. We're going to get a glimpse of her now in 2 seconds. Have a look, there we go. Sorry everybody, again, this female cheetah at Karongwe Game Reserve, she loves it down in the south. She lives along this fence line, but she's been taking her cubs for a little trot this morning, which has been fantastic. It's obviously going to be quite challenging because she goes on the fence line, she walks on the fence line for a bit and then jumps back into the bushes. I think she's definitely going to want to find something to eat. It's been a few days now since she's had something to eat. Sorry, I'm staring straight into the sun. It's great for my retina. But we will try and reposition on her again. We unfortunately don't have a view, but I have something to... What I will very quickly show you though, 1 second. I will show you how cute they were. We just didn't have any signal. I don't know, I think you'll be able to see. We shall see if we can do something here. Is it too glary? Yeah. Okay, never mind. We're going to show you it some other. Bring it down and maybe cover with the sky. Okay. No. Okay. No, I'm going to show you later. Anyways, I'm going to try and find this cheetah again for you. Off you go back across to James.
Ooh, there's a bit of a argy-bargy going on here. And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. I'm just going to shift slightly forward. There's a cow there who's taken exception to the young bull. She's given him what for. She's about the same size as he is, and he's backed off immediately. Yes, look at him. He looks like he's in disgrace, doesn't he? Now, I've just had a message from my young friend in Johannesburg, Graham Charles, and Graham Charles says that he has done a little bit of research, and human beings are the only animals that shed tears, so that will actually shed tears. So we were having that little discussion earlier, and that's very interesting. Thank you, Graham Charles. I hope that you are being provided with some porridge for your breakfast. He's now looking very ashamed of himself. There's our young bull. He didn't do anything that seemed to be particularly offensive. It's not like he walked up to her and shot her the bird or shoved her baby. Let's just reverse back a little and see the rest of the herd. Well, it's possible, Rebecca. I'm just not sure what the defect is. So you say, what are the my thoughts on humans crying being an evolutionary defect? I'm not sure what defect it would be. So in order for it to have evolved, it must have conferred some sort of advantage, or at least been unharmful. And the fact that it is universal through the human species tells me that it hasn't been harmful, and it's, at the very least, it's benign. But at the same time, the fact that it is so universal tells me that there must have been some reason for it. It must have been conferred some kind of advantage. And the more I think about it, the more likely I think it is that because so much of our communication happens through facial signaling, the more I think about it, the more I think that crying is a way of showing unrestrained emotion. If somebody cries in front of you, you stop feeling that they could be lying to you, that there's subterfuge. It also de-escalates a conflict situation. You know, if you're having a fight with somebody and they start to cry because the emotions become too strong, you will often back off. It'll de-escalate the situation, unless you're a psycho. And I don't think it's therefore surprising that some people are able, very few people, but some people are able to cry on cue. If you ask them to cry, they can shed tears. And it's almost like the next level of the evolutionary arms race, where we've evolved to cry so that we can show unrestrained emotion, but at the same time, some do it in order to con others, and perhaps even do it to de-escalate a social situation that could be particularly dangerous. Remember, things like infanticide have been a part of human history, still are in some parts of the world, and maybe crying is a way of just de-escalating conflict. I don't know. Lovely discussion. We've moved away now from the delicious taste of Gymnosporia buxifolia onto some Combretum apiculatum, I think. Yes. Actually, yeah. Right, we're going to probably move on from our elephants. Taylor, nearly said that Cheetah has managed to find her tailor again. I suppose that's probably true.
Everybody, welcome to Karongwe Game Reserve. I'm sorry about earlier. We were just in the middle of an awkward position And unfortunately, animals like to move around a lot, and this cheetah was darting in and out of the bushes. But now she is walking the length of one of these fence lines, so that's at the electric fence that you can see, which she does on a regular basis. She's constantly patrolling here, making sure that there aren't any other female cheetah that are trying to come and take her spot. But how cool is this? So this is the same female cheetah that we've been seeing, the Karongwe female cheetah, for the last few days. And her 2 cubs, I'm sure, at any moment will pop out on the left-hand side of the screen. We're just keeping our distance from her so that you can all have a clear view of them. There's one just off to the left. You'll see it's just hiding. There they both are. You can see their little heads. And they're playing with one another. They're kind of trotting after mom. And they're getting so much better. That one even came almost right to the vehicle today. We sat at quite a distance watching them. And one stalked and stalked and stalked and stalked and got closer and closer. And then eventually they got nervous and they thought, nah, this is too close. Just like 2 children, trying to push the boundaries a little bit. But they weren't quite happy about that. And then they did these little precious chirping noises, which is normally like a distress call, but they were looking for mom. And then mom walked out, she came and collected them again. And then they made their way back towards the fence line. But you can see she's got her ears pricked and she's focusing on something up ahead. What are you looking for, girl? Okay, William, so now we know that this female cheetah lives around in this area. She spends a lot of time here. So I think finding her is fairly easy. It's just the vegetation is so dense. So even when she's just 20 meters off the road, you can't see her. So basically what Alex and I have been doing all morning is we've just been driving and doing a loop and a loop and a loop around the fence line, back onto like 3 different roads, and back around and stopping and listening. I'm sorry, there's just going to be some noises. There's some vehicles coming past us. This is a very industrial area. You can see she's quite nervous about the big trucks, but she still walks here every single day. We're going to now need to just reposition up ahead. So basically we came round, and on about the 12th time that we drove this section of the fence line, she was standing out. She was pretty much in the same spot that she was yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, if you did watch the sunset safari, so you would have seen her. So she didn't move far. And then she probably just tucked herself under a tree to try and keep nice and dry. But we're not leaving the cheetah. We're going to go find them again. Or if we go to Ngala Private Game Reserve, where Sean is also having a great amount of luck.
Well, that is fantastic. Cheetah, well done with your 3 cheetahs. That is very, very cool. We have not had any luck with that lioness. So she's running circles around us. We saw tracks on top of the fresh vehicle tracks that we just made of her heading down the road. And then she cuts back off towards the river again. And she's just, I don't know, she's walking around us. So we've left there. We've left the other car there. They're still having a look around. We're now heading into a completely different area. One of our other rangers, Yapi and Pete, they saw a impala carcass in a tree. But now it looks like it's mainly finished. I think there's only about 5% of the actual meat left. They didn't see any sign of predator there. It turns out there was no leopard or no tracks of. Obviously there used to be a leopard there, but there wasn't one there this morning. So what we thought, myself and myself, we're going to head up in that direction. You never know, maybe it was hiding in the bushes, maybe we went for a drink of water, now the leopard's coming back. Or it could have just finished feeding and has left completely. But let's go have a look. Let's go see, maybe we just see the carcass in the tree. Still very, very interesting how it's placed, how much is left, that sort of thing. So we're going to go and have a look. And that's the thing at the moment is, you know, obviously these animals are still feeding. You know, the pride of lions, the wild dogs, the leopards. These animals that wild dogs hunt every day. Lions, leopards every 2, 3, 4 days. We don't see it that often, but it's happening. And it's always good to know, okay, there's a carcass there. So in the territory where that is most likely, if you remember, maybe 2.5, 3 weeks ago, we saw those 3 leopards together. The Shitsalala female and her 2 youngsters. So most likely them that were on this carcass. And I'm interested to get there to see, is it a big male, is it a female? Because then we will know, okay, they've been feeding there for maybe the last 3 days, 2-3 days. And now they finished there, so they're probably going to leave that area, maybe get some water at the close watering hole, and then head into a different part of the territory, away from that carcass, because that carcass could attract other leopards, hyenas, maybe even lions that smell it. So she will take her youngsters, her cubs, and move away from there. But at least we know where she has not been, or where she has been but is not anymore. Because even like that, you narrow down certain areas within a territory, which make it easier for us to then, look. So, now it's already, 10 past 8. We've got, 50 odd minutes left, but we're formulating plans for this afternoon. Oh, James Richard, do I have memorable sightings with the black dam female? James, I have so many sightings, memorable ones, with the black dam female. So, for those of you who don't know, the black dam female was obviously a leopard, a female. She was just incredible. Now, she was the mother of the Mokoti male, which is that young male that we've been seeing around fairly regularly. And she was very, very relaxed, a beautiful leopard, a stunning face, very calm, beautiful personality, character, that sort of thing. Just one stage I remember, just down the river, not far from where we were following that lion now, she had three different impala carcasses at the same time, at different trees. So it was like her and then her 2 cubs, the Mokoti and his brother, and each one of them had their own carcass in a tree. She was just phenomenal. And we used to follow her, and it was incredible. She was so relaxed, coming, around the car, just sitting there. Her cubs took after her, so they were also very, very relaxed. I'm trying to think of my most memorable sights. There's just so many, James. There's so many. I was actually going through a whole lot of pictures yesterday, and some of them were of her in trees, beautiful poses in old marula trees. When she had these 2 cubs the first time I saw them, they were maybe 2 months old. She was moving dens, walking down the road, and straight up to us around the car. The cubs went that way. She picked them up in her mouth. It was incredible. So yes, I do have very, very many fond memories of the black female. I think it's almost a year. No, it's almost 2 years since she passed away now. Yeah, almost 2 years. And she was a very well-loved leopard, a very, very well-loved leopard. You look at the Ngala Instagram, and you go back 2.5 years ago, and you'll see most of our pictures of her. She's just a stunning, beautiful one. For those of you who don't know her, have a look. Now, but her cubs have taken after her. They're also beautiful, carrying on her legend, her legacy. Beautiful animals, very relaxed, just like her. So it's been nice to have them around, still carrying on for her. But what we're going to do as we head towards this carcass is still a bit of a journey. We're going to see if we can find it. In the meantime, it seems like Lauren has got to the hyena den.
Good morning, Ribbon. She is here. I actually don't think I gave you the update yesterday, but I did come to the den yesterday afternoon, as I said I would, but no one was here. Not a single soul. And that's why we ended up leaving and luckily bumping into Tlalamba. But she's here this morning, and her belly is not fit to burst. She doesn't look like she's ate a whole giraffe this morning. So I wonder if maybe last night there was no food, maybe just small little snacks. There's an impala watching us over there, Taffy. I just could feel that I was being watched. I turned around and there's an impala. Can you see him? Yeah, there he is. You've got him. We see you, boy. We do. Am I in your territory? Your newly formed small little territory. I'm sorry. Oof. The boys are on fine form. I was telling Davy that yesterday Owen and I heard snorts, so we went to investigate. But it was just the boys. It happened to Davy and I again this morning, and Davy said it also happened to him and James yesterday. So there's a rutting vocalization that you can identify immediately as rutting, but there's also another vocalization that sounds just like an alarm call, and it would be silly for us to ignore it. But then once you get closer, you can see it's just a male impala being a male impala at this time of year. Now, if you think a month back, if you were watching us a month ago, the boys were silent and gentle and caring towards one another. They even formed bachelor herds, and they were also lovely to the ladies. That's no longer the case. The poor female impalas are having quite a tough time at the moment, being chased by these boys with only one thing on their mind. Ribbon, what's on your mind? Is it food? The bones. Now, we don't tend to see the cubbies in the morning. We tend to see them in the afternoon. But she must bring them out. They must suckle all day, as any young mammal would. They have very small stomachs, just like a human. A human baby has a tiny little stomach, and it fills up very, very quickly, and that's why they need to feed so often. Hyena cubs will be the same. So I just wonder if it's worth staying here a little while and seeing if we can maybe see some morning suckling. It's beautiful, beautiful light conditions. Did I win Lee? D. Did I win ye? Did I win ye? What a name. I've never heard that one before. It's nice to hear from you. Did I win ye? Huh, I like it. You're asking, do hyenas travel far, or do they stick to the same area? They do have home ranges, and they're not really territorial if you compare them to the likes of lions and leopards. But yes, they travel great distances. They will also leave their sort of home range and venture into another clan's home range if it involves food. When they're following their nose, or their noses, there's very little hyenas in general won't do. It's almost as if they cannot resist. They get themselves in a lot of trouble when they smell any form of delicious flesh, because they cannot resist. They cannot control it. They get very excited and they follow their nose, which means they walk for great distances all night. And that's why we never track hyenas. We see their tracks everywhere, but we don't follow them as we would a lion or a leopard, because they walk, and they also walk in the most erratic zigzag manner. They walk backwards on themselves, they'll go forward again, they'll go left, and then they'll go right, but then they'll go left again, because they're trying to pick up on scent. And once they do get that scent in their nostrils, they'll follow it, and that's why they travel great, great distances. We also see some Elephant Plains clan members on Djuma, and this is really not their area or their sort of territory, if you like, and I use that word loosely, but they're here because they must smell something delicious. I think if we were to track hyenas, we'd really know how to find them at the end of it. But luckily, Ribbon's always here. An incredible mum with two gorgeous little cubs in there. Please wake up, little cubbies, and come and say hello. I want to take photographs of you. But Mummy's in a deep snooze. She was probably walking all night. Tasha, not really. There's no predator that preys directly on hyenas. Now, their probably biggest threat is lions, but it's a numbers game. So let's just say you have a whole pride of lions, including males, with one lone hyena, then yes, they absolutely will try to attack and kill the hyena. But let's say you have 4 hyenas and just 1 lioness, and the lioness would probably leave. So it's all about numbers. Who's got more on their side? Lions hate hyenas and hyenas hate lions. They are not friends. We've actually watched a male lion known as Darkmane from the Avoca Coalition attack the previous matriarch, Corky. It wasn't nice to witness, but basically he wanted what she had, and she had some dead animal in her mouth. We don't quite know what it was. It was unidentified. But as for do they have predators? No, not really. Clans will battle one another, and that can result in serious injury or death, and there can be lots of internal disputes within one clan that can also result in death. So probably the biggest threat to a hyena is another hyena or lions. But I would definitely not say leopards. Leopards tolerate them, and they tolerate leopards. So we're going to sit with Ribbon a little while longer. I think it may be worth it this morning, but it appears like James has headed all the way down south, and he's about to take off from Cheetah runway.
Yes, this great speedy vehicle in which I drive, taking off is something you have to be very careful of. We are now going to observe some crowned lapwings, which are doing their running thing, and also a Senegal lapwing. 2 lapwings of different species. There is the crowned lapwing. You can tell it is a crowned lapwing, Owen, because it has a crown. Well done, good. Now, unlike the lapwing in front, and you see the lapwing in front, there it is, that is the Senegal lapwing, and you can tell it is a Senegal lapwing because it has a... No, it doesn't sound the same, does it? Can't say it has a Senegal. I'm not sure what a Senegal is, other than a place. Anyway, that is the Senegal lapwing. It's got a lovely little call. And in case you are wondering, we are on an airstrip on the reserve Cheetah, which is southeast of Djuma. So, if you happen to own your own aeroplane and you'd like to come to Cheetah, you can fly it here. Actually, I do my best David Attenborough voice 6 hours a day. I am not very good at impressions, actually. I can do a couple of accents, but I can't actually put on an accurate David Attenborough, I'm afraid. I feel like it's almost... This is obviously ridiculous, but I feel like it's almost sacrilegious to do it, because he's such a doyen. Obviously it's not sacrilegious. He's just a man like all of us. So I'm going to decline, Akshay. I'm sorry about that. I'm going to decline trying to do a David Attenborough. I have tried before and failed dismally at it. Almost as bad as as my attempt at a Welsh accent the other day, which was really awful. Some lovely clearings here, on the fringes of which one would expect to find a cat looking out, casting glances at potential meals. Oh, Amanda, animal documentaries that I might recommend. Which ones have I really enjoyed? Let's just have a quick look at these impala being harassed. I mean, I really do enjoy the BBC ones. I love those Natural History Unit things. I enjoyed Blue Planet, Planet Earth. I really loved Human Planet, but I've got quite a deep interest in sort of human history or human natural history. I'm trying to think, those are kind of really obvious ones. I'm trying to think of another one that I've seen that's perhaps less well known, that I thought, wow, that's quite something. The first Joubert film, or the first one that I became aware of, Eternal Enemies, was really amazing. That was kind of groundbreaking, it really was. I'm trying to think of... Planet Earth was the first digital HD documentary that was shot. Not sure if the whole thing was, but that's basically, that was its... when things really started to go digital away from analog. So that was quite groundbreaking from a technical point of view. I can tell you a couple I wouldn't recommend, but I'm probably not going to do that. I don't think I know that one, Louise. Brothers of Blood. Oh, yeah, that is quite a nice one too, made by Richard Leyburn, called the Brothers of Blood, or Blood Brothers, and it's about the Mapocho coalition of this area. Yeah, that would give you some nice background into this area, I suppose. I feel like I've seen so many, but I can't think of one off the top of my head that has really blown my mind that you wouldn't know already, you know, all those Planet Earth ones, etc. Yes, very nice. Blood Lions, also a very good one, and that's about the canned lion hunting trade. Yeah, that's actually really good. That's a good one, Louise. That's a good one to have mentioned. Not a cheerful one, but a good one. I can tell you a couple I wouldn't recommend, but I'll probably get in trouble for doing that. There's a new one on Netflix now, whose name I shan't give you, that Kirsten and I attempted to watch. Made it through 5 minutes. Asked all of our friends to try and see if they could get further than 5 minutes, and most didn't make it further than 3. Left us wondering whether the world had gone madder than we thought it had gone, that something like that was commissioned. Now Leo, this is a really nice question. It's a nice discussion too. Naturally, this impala is hiding behind the only bush in 500 meters. Let's discuss it on a wider scale than just impala, Leo. Many antelope will have the males with only the males with horns, and many will have the males and females with horns. And there are a number of theories around it. When only the male has horns, excuse me, when only the male has horns, you can be sure that he's got the horns purely so that they can fight with each other and so that they can display to females. So there's no other reason why they'd have them. They don't use them for defense. A kudu's horns are useless for defense as far as I can see, and an impala's would be pretty useless for defense too. They hide and they run when they want to get away from something. They might get a lucky shot in if a leopard happened to surprise them and they manage to swing round in time, but almost universally they won't face a predator. They'll run away if they think they're under attack. So why then do some antelope have females with horns? In some cases, I think it's got to do... One moment, please. Lions came here. Oh, they found them on the Mala Mala boundary, I think, which is well south of here. Yeah. In some cases, for example, in the case of perhaps wildebeest, or I know they're not antelope, but buffalo or gemsbok, you can see some defensive use behind the horns, and therefore it makes sense for the females to have the horns as well. So females will have horns. They're often slightly lighter or less robust than the males, and although the males still use them to fight each other, the females use them sometimes for defense. So a gemsbok cow will use her rapier horns to try and impale an attacking lion. So they are definitely a deterrent. There's some other antelope where only the males have horns. Then there's a quite interesting theory around animals like topee, for example, or sesame, where females also have horns. And the idea, we think, is that everyone has horns so that the males, the big bulls, don't harass the young bulls when they are growing up, so that they don't harm them, because they can't tell which is male and which is female. And interestingly, topee bulls and cows are almost the same size. And I'm a little dodgy, or I'm a little sketchy on that particular theory, but it seems to be that in those species where males and females have horns, there's less harassment of young bulls and possibly even young cows as well. So those are the ideas. So basically, Leo, in impala or Ngala, which you're looking at there is no point in the females having horns because they don't use them for defense, and females don't fight each other. And so the physiological expense of having horns is not useful. Right, we're going to head off to the Waterhole at Cheetah now. You're going to go back to Ribbon's den and see if she's put on her tutu, and as Owen says, begun the river dance.
There's no tutu. There's no movement. Ribbon is not dancing. Are you dancing? I was about to burst into song there, but I don't think anybody wants to hear that. She's not dancing. I just would love to know what time these little cubbies come out. 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the evening, they tend to make an appearance, which is great. But of course, it's already starting to get a bit dark then. I want to see them in this beautiful daylight sunshine. Ribbon spends all day here. Unless she's summoned by clan members via vocalizations, or she can smell carcass nearby, she stays here all day. Come on, Ribbon. Show us your cubbies. Now, just a kind reminder, if you are enjoying watching our safaris, and of course we hope we can keep going so we can see Ribbon's little cubbies grow up, you are welcome to head over to our website, WildEarth.tv, and there's an option there to support. If you wish to donate, the option is there for you all. In winter will be a good time to view these cubbies. Now, I almost forgot yesterday, and I apologise. When Owen and I were at the giraffe carcass up on Buffelshoek, we saw lots of hyena interactions, and we saw Indabelly and Heart. Now, many, many interesting things happened there, but one of the most interesting was Heart's nipples. Can you believe it? They are protruding, and I am more than sure she's lactating, which means she is denning with cubbies somewhere. Now, I don't know where. I want to do a den search. I've checked all the dens in this area because where we are, there's actually 3 dens in a line, 1, 2, and 3. We're currently sitting at den number 2. And I've checked the other dens time and time again, and no signs of anything. So I want to continue checking and get everyone to check. But something is telling me that she's not denning on Djuma. I don't know what it is. But the normal timeline of a hyena is that they spend the first 4 weeks of their life at a natal den, and then the next 1 to 8 months at a communal den together, which means that Ribbon and Heart would join up together at a communal den. And then the next 8 to 14 months is the communal den to weaning phase. They will eventually wean at around 18 months to 2 years, which is a very, very long phase for an animal to be drinking milk. A young hyena cub will suckle right up to 2 years sometimes, but they will intersperse that with eating meat. Their jaws don't really spring into action till about 2 years old. Then, once they spring into action, they'll never stop springing, and they will become bone crushers. one of the most powerful bites in the entire animal kingdom. And then from the next from 18 months to 24 months, you'll find that they wean and then they get ready for reproductive maturity. Oh, exciting times. I believe I have to send you across to Ngala because Mr. Marcel is waiting for you all with his fact of the day.
Okay, so we are indeed with Marcel for his fun fact of the morning.
Thanks, Sean. So, Voyager 1 is a space probe that was launched by NASA on the 5th of September. Okay, we're out of sync. Linking you back to Lauren.
Oh, I hate it when your words don't quite match your mouth. It's not pleasant, especially if you lip read and you can hear that the words are just not matching what is being said. So sorry about that. I'm not Marcel. I'm definitely not as hairy as Marcel, but I do have facts. What can be our fact of the day, Davy?
Something hyena related.
Hyena related. What's your favourite fact about hyenas, Davy? Since you listen to the presenters.
They bite force.
Their bite force. I think you did very good to get out of that one. But yes, they do have one of the most powerful bites in the animal kingdom. Now, it's hard to measure bite force, but they are said to have a stronger bite than a lion or a leopard. Don't you, Rib Robs? Can we call one of your cubs Ribs and the other one Robs? No, I'm teasing. It will not be as easy as that, I can assure you. Or we can call one Quarren and the other one Team. I like that idea. My fact of the day is yesterday I was doing a lot of research on canids and canidae family because, of course, African wild dogs belong to that family. The most endangered is your Ethiopian wolf, and next in line is your African wild dog. They belong to the same group, which is Canidae. There's 34 species. I was doing lots of research, and I started to get myself all confused why you see grey spelled sometimes with an A and sometimes with an E, as in the grey wolf, G-R-A-Y or G-R-E-Y. And I just couldn't get my head around why sometimes you see it spelled one way and sometimes you spell it the other way. So my fact of the day is one is British, and one is American. The British one is spelt with an E, I believe. And the American is spelt with an A. Did you all know that? Are you impressed? Are you impressed, Avi? His facial expression right now is telling me that he's not impressed. Louise, are you impressed? It's probably not going to be as good as Marcel's fact of the day. I now know something that I didn't know before. So impressed. So if you're American, you're going to use an A, and if you're British, you're going to use an E. There we go. But hyenas are not part of the Canidae family. They're not at all. Though they, I think, look like dogs and sometimes behave like dogs in their mannerism. Morphologically, they're like dogs. They are closer related in taxonomy to the cats. But they're still not that closely related to cats. They are related to the mongooses. They're very closely related to mongoose. Mongoose are, of course, fierce carnivores. They're just small. If you actually look at the facial shape of a mongoose, it's not too far off a hyena. But hyenas are not dogs, and they're not cats. So I'm sure some of you absolutely blown away by my fact of the day, and you can't actually believe it. It was going to take all day to get over it. But we are going to try and send you back across to Marcel, who I'm sure his fact of the day is much better.
So welcome back to andBeyond Ngala. I'm Marcel. Behind the camera at the moment we've got Sean. So Voyager 1 is a space probe that was launched by NASA on the 5th of September 1977. It was actually launched after Voyager 2, which is interesting. But currently it's also the most distant man-made object from Earth. at about 148 astronomical units from Earth. So astronomical unit is the distance from the Sun to the Earth. And after the 12th of November in 1980, when it completed a flyby of both Jupiter and Triton, not Jupiter, sorry, Saturn, and Titan, it reached what was the third man-made object to reach the escape velocity from the solar system. And in 2012, on the 25th of August, it became the first man-made object to actually leave the solar system. And what makes it quite amazing is even in 2017, that's 40 years after it was launched, they still fired up the thrusters just under 40 years after the last time that was fired in 1980. So it's quite amazing how well it was designed. And it'll probably keep on transmitting data back to Earth until 2025, when the radioisotope thermogenerators stop producing enough electric energy to power the craft. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcel, for fantastic fact from Marcel. And I think if this guiding doesn't work out for me, I might take over his job as cameraman. It is quite nice behind the camera there. But what we are going to do is carry on. So some of the rangers have found tracks of the lions. We went to that carcass in the tree that I did tell you about. It looked like it was an impala lamb, so it wasn't much there. It was actually pretty much just skin really hanging from the tree. No activity in the area, so we left. And we're going to carry on, see if we have any other luck with the lion. Actually.
Now, I'm not sure what else we can say about these battaliers that hasn't been said already, because they are just always in this tree, which is very kind of them, of course. What is interesting about the group is that it isn't only the two of them. There is a third one, which you might expect to be the offspring of these two, but if it is, it's an offspring who refuses to leave home. Not an if he is. Because he's in fully adult plumage, which means he's at least 5 or 6 years old. In fact, almost 7 years old, probably. And so, I don't really know why he should be around. But there it is. And at the moment, we've just got what I think is the couple. I will now read to you about what its call is. Generally silent, yes. A loud guttural barking cow-aw or cow-wah, given during courtship and in aggression. Gives rapid subdued ka-ka-ka-ka during limp wing display and high-pitched mewing quip, ki-yaw at nest. Let me give that to you again. A mewing kyup, 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 kyo, kyo at the nest. So I'm sure you can hear exactly in your mind how it sounds. Only eagle that apparently deliberately makes a sound with its wings, producing a whop, whop, whop with rapid wing beats, or wharap, wharap during rolling aerial displays. What an astonishing array of sounds that this battalier is able to make. And luckily, my ability to replicate them is fantastic. We will now go through the alternative names. In Afrikaans, the battalier is known as the Berghaan, which is astonishing. That means the mountain chicken. The mountain male chicken. Or mountain cock. Right?
Hen.
Mountain hen or mountain cock. I don't think that's a very good name. The Zulu one, you ready everybody? Ingungunulu. Ingungunulu. That's a really nice one. Ingungunulu iyandiza. Ingungunulu iyadiza. The battalier is flying. In Xhosa, Inganga. I think that's really cool. Ingungululu, Ingungungulu, Ingungungulu. German, Gaukler. French, Batelier de Savane. Portuguese, can't pronounce. Dutch, Batelier, Gulchila. I don't know. The Dutch, really. Gulchila. Ah, there's a Gulchila. So the winner there is the Zulus with Ingungungulu. The losers, the Afrikaans with Mountain Cock. Berghaan. They don't live in mountains, they don't look like chickens. Better, however, than the Afrikaans for yellow-billed oxpecker, and if you're wondering what that is, Google it. Don't be shocked, don't say I didn't warn you. Right, I can say nothing further about these bateliers that hasn't been said before. Let us move on. Don't forget their calls, everybody. What we did learn, something genuinely biologically interesting there, the only raptor that we know of that makes a noise with its wings on purpose as it flies. Whap, whap, whap when it flies off, or wharap, wharap, wharap when it is doing an aerial play. A question about whether they have a defined breeding period. They do. I'll tell you when it is. From RS. Like summertime. Eggies. Laying dates January to May. Mainly February to April. Yeah, so late summer. And I don't think these we are now on the very southern tip of Djuma. We will begin the slow march to the north. Now. Wharap, wharap, wharap. Hop, 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 hop. Maz123, I missed, I think, the second half of your question, but I've been a guide on and off for about 20 years. I only guided guests full-time for about 4 years. 3 years. 3 and a bit. At this specific reserve, I've been here on and off for 5 years. We've been between here and Kenya. But yes, here for 5 years. Really expand on that answer. Oh, there's the African harrier hawk or gymnogine. That is why the squirrel is shouting. All the starlings are going to chase him. Where, Louise? Louise says she can see it. It's her favorite. Oh, yes. Well done. Well spotted. Got him. We got him. We got him now. We got him, Louise. Thank you. Well done. You found him. You got him. You can see the jackalberry fruit starting to form. Also, there's an earthquake. I wouldn't say that this is the best picture of a hawk eagle we've ever had. At least a harrier hawk. There we go. It's not too bad. See his yellow face. He'll move now. Here we go. Ready, Louise? Oh, very nice. He just did his morning dump. Fantastic. It really is astonishing how often I am able to make not only birds but mammals relieve themselves. We can see you. You may as well just come out into the open. I think he was probably trying to have a go at a starling's nest here, which is why the starlings took great offence at his presence. What's that doing?
Is it him shouting like this?
No, that's the starlings. And then there's a little grebe again. Tip, tip, in the waterhole next to it. It seems to be the little contact call that they make. It's a beautiful stick shot. I hadn't told you what tree it was. I suspect we should have had a quiz as to what tree it was. My friend Graham Charles loves trees. He loves trying to identify them. It's his favourite thing in the world. Let's carry on. Here's the junior dab, oh, not dab chick anymore, sorry, little grebe, making its call. No, it's not a crested grebe. No, it's not a black-necked grebe. It is a little grebe. A juvenile one. You see how it retains that chick-like headdress for a long time. Not sure who it's contact calling to. Can't see any others. So that one is younger than the one that caused the consternation yesterday and fooled a few of us, me included. Sounds kind of distressed, doesn't it? Right, back with the cheetah. Let's quickly go across to her as fast as possible.
Stress, have you got her? Sorry, now I've got audio issues. But there she is. Can you see her walking in the drainage line? She's just below us. She's been playing with the cubs all morning long. And basically, I'm contemplating going just now. My signal is stable. We are going to go a little bit forward. Okay, I'm taking a gamble here, but I think it's going to work. Apologies, everyone. I'm just going to drive forward. There she is. Okay, there we go. It's not going to last long because she's on the go. She's taking her cubs for a walkabout. But here's the best view that we had. Here's the best view we've had. Amazing. Again, apologies for the vehicles. We are on a private game reserve. There is a main road that runs close by. Okay, little cubs keep going to the right. There we go. Look, they're climbing up the boulder now. So they're getting bolder and bolder as Mom starts to move them around a lot more. And they've been exploring, they've been climbing up in trees, and now they're up sitting on this lovely granite boulder, which is fantastic. How cool is this? This is so special. You can see, though, how they crouch down slightly. They're a little bit nervous. They really do want to go out and explore. And Mom doesn't go too far. She sort of lingers around. Sometimes she disappears out of sight. But then they panic and then they go racing back. But Mom is hungry. Mom is looking for something to eat. She was looking very, very gaunt this morning. Hello, cuties. Look at this. You are so lucky to see young cheetah like this. So it's taken me 8 years of guiding in the bush every single day to be able to see something like this. Here we go. Mom has joined them up on the rock now. This is absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to be brave enough and say that this is hands down the best cheetah sighting I've ever had in my life, and I know that most of you will probably agree with me as there's not going to be many chances that we get to see something like this. So please take lots of screenshots. We are going to start needing to ID them soon in terms of sexing them. So we're definitely going to have to try and do that at some point. And there they go. They're still running down the riverbed. We'll get one last glimpse of them before they disappear. But this is great. And I think, what should we do this afternoon? I think this afternoon we'll probably go and look for some giraffe. No, I'm just teasing. We're definitely going to move into this area. I'm going to try and follow her for a bit longer this morning to see where she settles down. But that's really going to be the end of the sighting now as she navigates through this little riverbed system, which was great. Wow, fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I know myself and Alex definitely did, and I'm glad we get to see these cubs every single day. Off you go to another one of our favorite animals, hyenas, and then of course the beautiful lion.
Why, thank you, Taylor. I have to say I'm very jealous. I've never seen a cheetah cub. Never mind two, I've not even seen one. I'm very jealous. It's on my bucket list for sure. And my little cubs, my two little cubs that I was hoping to see, have not appeared. But it's a game of patience. And I just want to quickly touch on the dens because I've got some theories here. Now, normally, let's just take the likes of the Maasai. They have a huge clan, 88 members strong the last time I checked, but I'm sure there's been cubs, so it's over 90. They will always have a communal den on the go because there's so many individuals, there's so many females. What that means is there will always be cubs, because they do hang around and suckle for such a long time. There'll always be cubs. Therefore, there will always be that communal den. So when a new female is pregnant, she will remove herself to go to a natal den. Then after 4 weeks, when she's ready, she'll bring them back to the communal den. But in this situation with the Djuma clan, there's no current communal den. There's only this den, which is a natal den with ribbon. Because the Djuma clan is so small, there's now only 5 reproductive adults, females, then I'm wondering if this will just naturally become the communal den, if that makes sense. She may not have to move the cubs to another den unless there's a parasite build-up or a predator threat or a flood. She may not have to move them. So if Heart has got cubs, and Heart is currently at a natal den, what we may find is that they both come together, and this may be the place of choice. One, because it's an incredible den. I know it's not everybody's favourite, but it's mine. And also Ribbon's the matriarch. This fantastic female that you are looking at is the boss. So I'm wondering if she gets to choose. So maybe if Ribbon decides to stay here and let our 2 little cheeky monkeys run around this den, then this actually may in fact become the communal den after all. And it's going to be interesting. I'm very intrigued to see what happens. Will she move them? Will she not? She doesn't technically have to, because there's no other den with any other cubs. So it'll be interesting. It'll be a real insight. Louise, just one more time with that name. Garth, you are saying Ribbon is so pretty, isn't she just? I'm not sure everyone would agree, but I think she is. She's not so pretty when she's... Yes. Oh, she's loving your compliment, Garth. Oh, hold on a minute. She's looking. Sometimes when she looks... You don't see anything, do you, Davy? No little heads popping out. Oh, she's loving that compliment, Garth. She loves it. Yes, I think Ribbon's beautiful. And knowing her story makes me love her even more. But I don't think everyone would agree. Ribbon, people think you're beautiful. She's getting shy. I'll take her compliments for her. She's on the move. She's standing up to get one last beautiful visual of her gorgeous self before the drive ends. Hello, girl. Oh, she smells delightful, Garth. She doesn't smell as good as she looks. So from all of us here at Djuma and Beyond Ngala, Eco Train in Karongwe, we want to say thank you and see you again this afternoon.